A world-class goalkeeper watches a routine shot fly past him and barely moves. The commentators call it a choke, a collapse of nerve on the biggest stage there is. They're wrong. He didn't choke. The stadium changed the physics of the ball before it ever left the striker's boot. And at this World Cup, it's happening in plain sight. Two stadiums are doing it. Estadio Azteca in Mexico City sits 7,300 feet up. Estadio Akron in Guadalajara just over 5,000. Up there, the air is roughly a fifth thinner than what these players have trained in their whole lives. And that one fact, a fifth less air, quietly breaks the rules every keeper thought he knew. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll see it in every shot, every free kick, and the cruelest moment in the sport, the penalty shootout. Start with the air itself. Air has mass, and when the ball pushes through it, the air pushes back. That's drag, the force that slows the ball, pulls it down, and holds it on the predictable arc every keeper has trained on for thousands of hours. But drag isn't the same everywhere. It scales directly with air density. Less air, less drag. At Azteca's altitude, the thinner air cuts drag by roughly 20%. 20% less of the force that normally reins the ball in. That's not a rounding error, that's a different game. Picture throwing a ball through water, then draining a fifth of the pool. It gets there faster, it dips less, and everything you knew about the arc is suddenly a little wrong. So what does faster and flatter actually look like? A long shot that should curl under the bar stays up. A free kick that should dip into the wall sails over it. A goal kick carries deeper, hanging into a zone the keeper never planned for. None of these are dramatic on a single frame of replay. They're small shifts that stack up. A ball arriving 3 feet higher than expected. A cross holding half a second longer. A drive that should settle into the keeper's hands, but stays at chest height and keeps going. And the striker who hit it did nothing wrong. The air just didn't do what air is supposed to do. I'm decoding this World Cup one hidden detail at a time. Subscribe so you see the game the way the players actually do. Now the strangest part. In soccer, swerve is everything. The banana free kick, the curler into the top corner, all of it is spin. Put spin on the ball and the air races faster over one side than the other. That pressure gap shoves the ball sideways. It's called the Magnus effect, and it's the foundation of every elite set piece. But Magnus, just like drag, scales with air density. Less air, less swerve. At altitude, the trained banana flattens out. The ball just doesn't bend the way the taker's whole career has told him it will. There's a second twist. This year's ball, the Trionda, was engineered to fly clean, to kill the old wobbling knuckleball that plagued past tournaments at sea level. But thin air shifts the exact speed where that clean flight kicks in. So a flat, hard strike can move in ways a keeper's sea-level instincts read wrong. They're not slow, they're solving the wrong equation. Which brings us to the payoff, the highest pressure moment in the sport. A penalty is only 12 yards. Over that distance, thin air won't make the ball invisible or the save impossible. Anyone selling you altitude makes penalties unsavable is overclaiming the physics. But here's the honest version, and it still matters. A keeper's reaction window on a well-struck penalty is about 0.2 of a second. At altitude, the ball arrives a fraction sooner and dips a touch less than his instincts expect. That's not a broken game, it's a thinner margin. A shootout is already decided in slivers, and altitude shaves one more off. And when the guess goes wrong, the world calls it nerves. The teams that are ready for this have a tool no previous World Cup had. The Trionda carries Adidas's connected ball technology, a sensor firing 500 times a second, mapping exactly what the ball does in the air. For the first time, staff can measure the altitude effect in real numbers. How much the curve flattens, how much pace the ball keeps, how far the flight drifts from sea level. The teams that trained at elevation re-angled their set pieces and told their strikers to aim lower and hit flatter. They brought the physics onto their side. The ones that didn't will watch their players get blamed for shots they actually struck well. So the next time a superstar skies one in Mexico City, you'll know the quieter story. It isn't nerves. It's a stadium 2/5 of the way to the clouds, bending the math of the game. And most people watching have no idea. The next one's already up. Drop a comment with the moment from Mexico City you want decoded next, and subscribe. The hidden variables are just getting started.